And welcome back to Borderline FPL, the podcast that constantly crosses the line between FPL advice and Premier League banter. My name is Chris, and today we have Jake and Willy joining us for the first time on the pod. Guys, thanks so much for joining me.
Can't wait to be a part of it. Love what you and Ben are doing. Excited to come along, and we picked a great week to be on the podcast.
Yeah, you picked a great day specifically. To preface this, guys, we have just finished watching Liverpool absolutely destroy Leeds at Anfield. So both of them being Liverpool fans, as you can see, if they weren't obnoxious enough, they're pretty high in spirits right now. Right, guys?
Yep, you'll never walk alone.
There you go.
6-0. It's a beautiful thing.
Sweet. Well, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at the table because I'm sure you both are going to want to actually see that anyways. So let me pull that up. You guys should be able to see that now. We good?
Good. Is it good to have a bunch of green W's next year?
Usually that's a good thing, Jake. That is typically a good sign if you have a lot of green W's after your team. But yeah, no jokes aside, form has been fantastic for you guys. 5 wins on the bounce. It might even be more. I don't even know. Are there more W's behind those W's, guys? Come on, you guys are Liverpool fans. I need to know.
It's just win after win. It's hard to keep it track.
Yeah, when you're winning so much and you're in like FA Cup finals and you're still in Champions League, like it's so hard for me to keep up. Honestly.
Dang, what a shame. That's so difficult for you guys. I feel bad.
Hey, you're not too far behind. You got a lot of games to catch up to. Definitely top 4, maybe.
Dude, don't say definitely with Arsenal ever. But yeah, I mean, in theory, we definitely have a good shot at it. But yeah, guys, let's get into kind of some of the results of the week. I think we'll talk in length about the 6-0 Liverpool game today because I would love to get you guys just like pick your brains on that game as Liverpool fans, what you're liking and what you're seeing in the team. But other than that, what kind of stuck out to you guys throughout the weeks? What teams are kind of on your minds?
I can go first. I really the thing that stands out to me the most is that Tottenham was able to beat Manchester City, who is the best team still until Liverpool passes them in Premier League, and then they lose literally the very next game to Burnley, who was last in the table. I don't think they're going to stay there, but that to me stands out more than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people will always say Tottenham gonna Tottenham. You can take anything and everything out of Spurs and put new things into it, and it's just not going to change. It just is who they are, On that note, I thought Kante's interview after the game today was hilarious or interesting. I don't know if you guys saw it, but essentially he was being interviewed and the reporter was like, what do you think's going on here? Does something need to change? And he's like, well, we'll definitely have to take a deep, review into what's going on in the team. This amount of losses in a row is unacceptable. But we'll have to take a look if, this is the right fit or essentially something like that. And he's like, well, what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, Tottenham, the players always stay at this club and the managers go. So, we'll have to take a deep look into that and see how it goes. And it's like, if you take that on face value, he's basically saying we need to review if they're going to fire me or not. Almost as if he's like egging it on, which I was just like, that is shambles. That is not what you want to hear as a Tottenham fan, especially with a coach as good and world renowned as Antonio Kante. That's tough.
You already lose Moreno, and he couldn't do it, and you'd expect Kante, but I'd be shocked if he left or if they fired him. But
yeah,
obviously there is an issue, and I mean I would obviously, for a manager, they haven't had a summer transfer window. Love to see that for them, but it definitely is an issue.
Right.
And it's Tottenham being Tottenham. They just can't. Yeah. They can't stay consistent.
Ever since Tottenham had a chance with Ted Lasso before he even had his own TV show with that NBC short years ago,
I don't even think I know. They
haven't been able to find a good manager ever since then. And honestly, hearing someone say, "I don't know if I'm there," it's like it's almost like it's not me, it's you kind of thing, or like kind of, it's not you, it's me. Let me let me be the reason we break up this thing, knowing that he's definitely probably not the reason that I'm just having problems.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's unfortunate. I think as an Arsenal fan, I was worried when they signed Kante because I think Kante is an absolutely incredible coach. You look at what he did at Chelsea, and then you look at what he did at Inter Milan, and the productivity he's gotten out of some players. Like even like you look at Lukaku at Inter, and then you look at Lukaku now at Chelsea, who's getting like maybe 3 touches of the soccer ball the entire game, and it's just world difference. So I'd back him as a manager. I think he's good. Obviously, his interview is worrying, but it's his first season here. He has had one January transfer window to work with, and in that he brought in Kulusevski from Juventus, who had a great game against City. And he's probably going to want to spend big in the summer, so it really depends on whether Daniel Levy is going to give him that money to spend or not. Because that may cause some issues if he's not willing to, splash the cash a bit, because Spurs are going to be wanting to do that for sure. It'll be interesting to see at this stage because there's so much talk about Kane leaving last season and then it just not happening to go to City or wherever. It'll be interesting to see if Kane at this point still wants to leave. I would assume he probably does, or if he'd be possibly persuaded into staying under Kante if Kante sits him down and he's like, look, here are the players we're bringing in this summer. I've already gotten them approved by Levy. We're going to win a title here, or, whatever he wants to sell the dream for Kane. Do you guys think he would say, or you think he's dunzo, he's gone for sure?
It depends on who comes to get him and if they have the money for it. And I don't see what team that could be. Maybe a Real Madrid. I don't see PSG picking him up with what they have now.
Yeah, they don't need him.
Bayern's not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any Italian team. Maybe Juventus, but
they just signed Vlahovic, though. They don't want him.
Yeah,
Vlahovic is 21 years old.
They don't want him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if he does leave, he's bound for another Premier League team, and there's only 3 that I would see him going to, and that's City, Chelsea, or United. I don't see him going to any other club. I think.
Well, okay. Here's a hot take: could Newcastle pick him up now with the money?
But okay, here's my question. Right, Kane is he's about to pass Thierry Henry for goal scoring record in the Premier League. He's done pretty much everything you can as an individual in the Premier League to be world renowned. All that's left, all he wants to do is win trophies. So do I think he's going to go to Newcastle? No, I don't. Regardless of what they come with him for. I just think the man just wants to win trophies because he's so sick of being trolled for being at Tottenham his entire career. So I would probably say no. It would be crazy if he did, though.
It would be crazy. It's a hot take.
I feel like, to me, I have 2 questions, 2 thoughts. I'd love to hear what y'all think.
Mm-hmm.
One is that would Tottenham actually be better if they abandoned this Kane attempt at getting a trophy with Kane? Would they, if they build their team around a play style that was more fit for Son, and maybe brought in a Jared Bowen or someone to have 2 guys on the wings that are running more?
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't know. And then the other thought is, wouldn't Man United be better with Kane than Ronaldo? Because Ronaldo gets in the way all the time, it seems, and Kane plays so deep that he would be great, I feel like, at being able to pass to these young guys that Man United just got. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope he goes to play for Brighton, and no one ever hears anything about him.
Him and Neil Maupay up top, for sure. I can see it.
Or Atlanta United, but I have no interest in Kane being in any of those teams you mentioned.
Yeah,
because they're just gonna try to buy another trophy. It's annoying.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's an interesting concept. And to your point, do I think Spurs would be better off without Kane? No, I absolutely don't. He's still at the end of the day, he's had an absolutely ropey season so far and been off and on. I think he's starting to hit form. He's starting to find his form. Whenever you look at Kane's form, you want to look at his shot volume. And if you look at the beginning of the season, he was having maybe 1 shot, 2 shots a game. And now his shot volume's up to 8 or 9, which is like where you want him to be shooting, like 4 shots on target. Whether he's scoring the goal or not, that's the output you want out of Kane. And then, like, to your point, Jake, you said, I think he would fit well at United. I think you're absolutely right. You know, and this is one thing, if you listened to the podcast last week, I brought up with James, is when I watch United and when I watch Ronaldo right now, when he receives the ball with his back to goal, he instantly lays off the ball. He does not, like, muscle a guy off or spin around and maybe try and play a through ball or anything. He just instantly lays the ball off. And with Kane's ability to drop a little bit deeper, almost play like a false 9 center forward at times for Tottenham, and his passing ability that we've seen connecting with Son, I think he'd be a great fit at Man United. If you can get Sancho and Rashford back on form, I mean, Rashford's been honestly terrible all season. But there's a player there for sure. We've all seen it. So if you can get him back on form and get Sancho, more comfortable in this team, and then that with Bruno and Pogba in behind, that sounds pretty good, Like, and in theory, you would think, Ronaldo, one of the best.
Don't forget about Fred.
Don't start with Fred, Jake. We're not doing that.
Fred's the best. I want him to stay at Man U.
I think we all do, other than Man United fans. But yeah, I think that's a good shout, Jake. That would be an interesting fight.
I would argue. So if you remember the Man City Tottenham game that like opened the season, then Kane wasn't in it.
Right.
And it was Wolves' old coach. I'm blanking on his
name.
Yeah, Nuno.
Mm-hmm.
But that game, it was a whole different kind of play that Tottenham had,
right,
of where they were just playing very, very quick soccer, very similar to like Wolves would always do, and they had the speed. And as soon as Kane came on with Nuno as coach, he just slowed everything down.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, without Nuno, I wouldn't sell Kane. He's, as you said, like his stats are crazy. He's a great player to have, but I think they should have done it and kept of Nuno, because with the speed that Lucas Moura and Son and all of them have up top, that Kane doesn't really have as much.
Mm-hmm.
They were a fun team to watch there, but yeah, I mean, you can't sell him now, unless it is still a ridiculous bid for him. But
yeah,
I will be interested to see what Kante does.
Yeah,
and then I'd hate to see him at Man United. If Man United does well, I'm upset.
That's fine.
I love seeing Ronaldo blank week in, and other weeks he's on the bench. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, for those of y'all that listen to the pod, we're in a mini league with Chris, me and Willy, and Willy and I have not had Ronaldo the entire season, and we've sworn ourselves to never have Ronaldo in our team, whereas Chris has captained him quite a few times.
Hey, it's only not worked out for me. I think I've captained him. No, I've captained him 4 times, or maybe 3. I think 4 times, and I've gotten 2 good returns out of it and 2 bad ones.
Nice.
So, it is what it is. It could be worse. For sure, it could be worse. The one thing I was thinking about in terms of that is just how interesting it would be if, like, Chelsea and Tottenham did a little swapski with Lukaku and Kane. Because you look at how well Lukaku did under Kante at Inter. Could he get that out of him at Spurs? I mean, in theory, Lukaku's not going to want to go to Spurs, right? So this is just babble talk at the end of the day. But I think it'd be funny. I think it'd be funny.
Or Pulisic with Lukaku over to Spurs. It would be kind of cool.
True.
I don't know. After this Champions League game this week, I think it's obvious Lukaku's not good. I've been saying it since they bought him.
Yeah.
I know it's a hot take, but if you watch him play, and I was talking about this with my brother, and we both see it now every single time. When you watch him play,
right,
he will not move and ask for a through ball, and he'll expect his teammates to see him open when he's not. And as soon as they don't pass to him, he just throws his hands up. And he's like, I was wide open, when he wasn't. And that's not how Chelsea's playing. And with their win over, what was it, Lille? Lille. Without Lukaku. I think they're going to move away from him, and it was a waste of money for them.
I don't disagree.
So he could want to go to Tottenham.
Maybe He could just want out at the end of the season. Tuchel did say that he thinks that they the team plays better with Havertz leading the line than Lukaku, and that probably is because Havertz, he will press harder. He will make those runs in behind that Lukaku maybe isn't doing so much of. But yeah, good thoughts, guys. I think
don't have Lukaku on your team.
No, definitely don't have Lukaku on your FPL team. I mean, we can we can sit here and argue about Ronaldo, but definitely do not have Lukaku on your FPL team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this week has been really interesting. You guys are 3 points behind City now, same amount of games played. The title race is well and truly on. You guys also still have a game to play against City. So in theory, if you win that game, you're level on points with them. And then it's really on from there. But I think,
we just passed goal differential, which was great today.
Yeah, you really boosted that today, for sure. You guys are +4 on them right now for goal differential, so that's really good. And then if you look at the bottom of the table, we talked about this right now. Like, I'm not going to actually change it. It's kind of cut off. But from 14th place down, any of those teams could be in a relegation scrap right now. Because
100%.
18th, Burnley is in 18th with 20 points right now, 4 points behind Brentford with 3 games in hand. I mean, it could completely swap. It could completely swap. And we don't know how that's going to go. But I think it's a really fun season. The title race will be fun between you guys and City. Top 4 is completely wide open. It could be any 5 of United, West Ham, Arsenal, Wolves, and Spurs. It really just depends on who wants to find consistency, who can continue to get, the 3 points. And if you look at it right now, I will just bring up, other than Wolves, I guess Wolves has the best form as of recently. They have 4 wins out of their last 5. And then we have 3 wins and a draw out of our last 5. But one of those games was a win against Wolves. We do play Wolves tomorrow. At home this time, so that is a huge game for us specifically and for Wolves. And going into that with triple Arsenal, I'm pretty excited to watch it. I'm also very nervous but I'm pretty excited to watch it.
Well, you said Spurs are always going to Spurs, so the Gunners always gun, or however you would say that, because there's a chance that this is your moment, and then they just flop, and it's a 1-0 loss.
So that's the thing with Wolves is, and I think we talked about this pre-pod, but I think Wolves have the best defense out of any of those 5 teams, and they're very capable of going anywhere and winning 1-0 with a scrappy Saiss header goal or whatever, a Jimenez goal from outside the box, or Podence, the little magician. I love that guy. I can't even lie. I love that guy. But yeah, I think they're very capable of winning 1-0 against any team in the league right now because they have such a great defense. If you look at their back line of Saiss, Kilman, Cody, Ait Nori, and then Semedo, that's a really good back 5. Like really solid. And with Jose Sa in net as well, I think arguably the best, keeper this season so far, other than maybe, Ramsdale's probably up there as well. They've got a good team.
Look at when you're looking at the screen, they've only scored 23 goals this year, and they played 24 games, and they're still in the race to get even potentially, I'd say they're not going to, but Champions League, but definitely Europa.
Yeah, I think they should finish in Europe for sure.
And that's so impressive to be able to have all types of sports are moving towards where offense is what matters. And so to see a team like Wolves always just grind out wins in the rain.
Yep.
And and they have Raul, who is one of the guys I'm looking at potentially bringing in this week. Depending on how he does tomorrow, but they, Wolves are a very impressive team. I also think, from like you talking about the form, I haven't looked to see completely who people are going to be playing in the future, maybe the next 5 or 6 games, but I would say West Ham is going to fall back to the mean and potentially finish like 8th or 9th. I wouldn't be surprised. But maybe they'll do better. But I really think the way that I've watched Premier League the last 4 years is that defense really comes strong at this time of year when people are hurt and tired.
Mm-hmm.
And the teams that have the best defenses are going to be the ones at the top in this little 4-man race between 4, 5, 6, and 7, I would say.
Well,
I'm
so
taking Tottenham out of that race.
with that, you're taking them out. You can't count them out. They still have quality players. I want to hear both of your predictions. Let's just say top 3 is solidified, which I don't necessarily think it is.
It's not,
I think,
that was the thing.
No. I think those 3 will be the top 3. They could interchange, meaning like Liverpool could, but maybe not. Yeah. Chelsea could even not find form, and maybe someone passes them if they don't really get their act together. Who do you think the top 4 will be at the end of the season? Both of you.
Willie, you want to go first?
Oh God, kills me to say it, but I feel like Arsenal would do it. I don't know. They've been on a good. I mean, it doesn't say they've been on a run, but they look good, and they seem to have good rhythm going.
Yeah.
And they have a game in hand too. Just the fact that they're at 23 games played and everyone else is at 26, but Wolves and Tottenham at 24.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see Tottenham pulling it out. But Wolves, you're right. I mean, Commander Cody in the back. It's just I don't think they can score the goals to make it work. I think Arsenal has the back and the front to make it through to the top 4.
The booty in the face.
Yeah, they got the booty in the face.
That's true. Well, let me give you my top.
Yeah, I want to hear it, Jake.
4, much more confident than what Willie was saying. Number 1 is going to be. Oh, there's a little freeze. Are we good now?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good.
Number 1, Liverpool. It's going to be awesome. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of stuff going on with the scheduling where potentially Liverpool is going to have to miss a game. And then they're basically going to, especially if we beat Man City, they're going to have to win probably win that last week, potentially playing behind a game of Man City, which is just going to be so exciting. So I think they're going to get first. I think Man City is going to focus on Champions League. But they're good enough to field 11 different players in both those leagues and win them both. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But third, I'm saying that I think Man U is going to get third and not Chelsea. I think Chelsea is. I don't think Chelsea's it, man. I really don't, and I think they're going to try to defend the Champions League as well, more so than really caring too much about finishing third. And then fourth, it's going to be close between Arsenal and Chelsea. I really think Arsenal is the best team out of all of those teams right now. But like third down, I really think they're the best team. But I think they have just messed up just enough times. Like that when they tied Brighton 0-0, I think on your wedding day, Chris.
Yeah, it was my wedding day.
I remember just being like, I can't believe they did that, because a good team should do that, but I think they're just young enough and just naive enough to like play really hard and find themselves in the top 4. And
so you think
that's who I got.
So you think Chelsea drops all the way from 3rd to 5th, and then you have got United in 3rd and Arsenal just edging Chelsea out in 4th?
Probably not, but why not? I would love to see Chelsea all the way out. That sounds great to me. But you can't buy your player. You can't just buy players all the time and expect to win anything. I think Chelsea should be punished. And
that's what Man United is.
Yeah, I mean that's Man City.
It's
Man City as well. If we want to direct the conversation into financial fair play, we'll be here all day. But I think what you're saying. I think Chelsea just has the strength and depth that they'll keep a hold of 3rd. Right. I mean, to be fair, they have been playing Club World Cup stuff, but
true, yeah.
It's not like they're just twiddling their thumbs for the last 4 weeks. But I get what you're saying. I think United would have to find some serious form in order to get up to 3rd. I do think at this point in time, they're our current biggest, rivals for that 4th spot. Just based off of Tottenham's most recent result. Now, if Tottenham had, that's how fickle this is. If Tottenham had won today at Burnley, I would have been saying Tottenham are our biggest concern,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I don't think, to your point, I think it was Willie, I don't think Wolves have the front line or the star power and attack in order that they would need to get them into that 4th spot, but I think they'll definitely finish in Europe. But yeah, overall, those are some solid predictions. I like it. Jake, a
Looking
little
at-
bold,
I'm
but
looking at
hey, we like
I'm
it.
looking at Man United's remaining fixtures, and they it's a mixed bag because they have to play Man City and Liverpool, but every other and Arsenal games that they have to play for the rest of the season. But all their other games are against bad teams. It's Watford, Everton, Norwich, Brentford, Brighton, and Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
So they could, if they win all those games, then I do think they could get third. But they need to beat Chelsea for sure, and then obviously probably beat Arsenal too in order to give themselves a chance.
And there's a lot of big swing games coming up. Arsenal still have to play United. Arsenal still have to play Spurs, and we play Wolves tomorrow. So a lot could happen, man. A lot could happen for sure. Well, with that being said, guys, let's kind of redirect a little bit now that we've talked about the table, and let's look at our FPL teams. So which one of you wants to share your screen first with kind of how you're going right now? I'll stop sharing mine.
I'll go. We'll start with the loser.
Don't say that about yourself, Willy.
I know.
Willie's my guidance counselor.
Willie's having a rough week, and we'll show you why he's having a rough week at the moment. He had a pull up the points.
The rule
pull up
is
the points. We need the points.
You guys see that?
Yeah, but you're on your transfers. Go to points.
Oh, all right. We're still learning it. So pretty much, the rule is don't fantasy Premier League while drinking. That's the best I can tell you. All right, is this better?
Yes, much better. Scroll down a little bit so we can see the full team.
Yeah,
so he's on 79 points.
So pretty much the moral of the story is I had solid triple captain, and then I had a wedding this past weekend, and as you do, you drink. And for some reason, I said, you know what? I'm a triple captain, Trent Alexander-Arnold. And the next day, I get a text in our chat, and it says he was benched. He's not even on the bench. He didn't even make the lineup. Yep. So that was a great start to my weekend.
That's tough, man. The Stellas just tasted like Trent, huh?
Tequila. Yeah, right.
It's got to be something strong to make you not captain Salah against two bad teams.
That's so funny. Okay, well let's talk about the team and like what are you thinking? What are your thoughts at the moment?
Yeah. What even is a win? So I know Jake, you and I have talked about this before, but Southampton, they look to have a good run, and they're honestly in good form. So me benching Livramento was a bit stupid on me, but that's because I thought Man City would destroy Tottenham, which proved false.
Yeah.
I know, Jake, you'll probably have more to say here because you've been looking at them more, but I think Southampton, looking at their players, Ward-Prowse is always a good player to look at for them. He's pretty consistent, being their captain, and coming in week after week. I'm kind of tired of this Man City roulette thing. As soon as I brought Laporte in, he was benched. And Gundogan's been starting to be a super sub for them. But at the same time, whenever they play like a smaller team, he'll start. And he played really well against Tottenham.
Yeah,
had a goal. So there's that. Mings. So the thing about Villa and them having Coutinho now, they looked really good to begin with, and now they're still kind of finding form. And Stevie G's still kind of working with them. I haven't given up on them. I don't think they're going to get relegated, and I don't think they're going to fall apart. But, so I would say Coutinho is really the only one to look at there. I thought they'd have a strong defense with Steven Gerrard, but so far that has not happened. I'm looking now. They had last 5 were 2 draws, 2 losses, and 1 win. So Mings has not been as great as I thought he would.
So let me ask you this question, Willie. You still have your second wild card. You still have your second free hit, and you still have your bench boost, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I got, I think I have what's the third one or fourth one?
Triple captain that you just played.
Yeah, I just played that.
Yeah, so
I'm trying to forget.
Yeah, well, my thought is the team overall doesn't look bad. Okay, so you've got Antonio, probably overstayed his welcome at this point, right? We can all agree on that. Okay, we've got Tony, who has been hurt the last couple weeks, and then we've got Jota, who just recently got hurt as well. Now, the team overall, I think there's a lot of players that are good and holds, and I think there's some players that you could change. When have you thought in depth about when you're going to play your wild card, your second wild card?
We've not. We're thinking this week since I have I have 3 Liverpool.
Okay.
It's a debate. I don't know if I have 2 or 1 though. I gotta confirm
You're
that.
talking about free hit. Willy.
You're talking about free hit or wild card? So the free hit is.
I was talking about free hit.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know.
Here would be my thought process for your team, and we can just talk it out. You can tell me that you think this is a dumb idea if you think. My thought process would be at the moment probably free hit this week. Okay, so put out the best 11 that you can draft this week. Wild card game week 28. So that would be the next week. So this week is 27. You would wild card game week 28 and set your team up for a bench boost in game week 29. Now, the reason I say that, Willie, is next week you have Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal all not playing. Those are the 3 teams that blank in game week 27.
Yeah.
But you're going to want players from Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal all long-term because they're all good picks. They're all good long-term holds. Specifically, and nobody's talked about Chelsea for weeks, but if you look at their schedule, their fixtures upcoming are nuts, like actually crazy. And there's a very high possibility that they still get another double game week announced in game week 28. Now, that has not been announced yet, but there's still a high likelihood of that, according to Ben Krellin on Twitter, who's like the guru on double game weeks and like when fixtures are going to get announced. So my thought process for you would be, this week, free hit, okay? Do whatever you want with your team this week. Next week, you can build a team with a wild card of a lot, like basically a balance of players that are going to have a double game week in 28 and a double game week in 29. And then you would set up for a bench boost in 29 because you can't play wild card and bench boost in the same week. So you would bench boost in 29 and then try and make sure. So game week 30, and we didn't talk about this in depth, but I'll try and kind of cover it a little bit right now. Game week 30 is also going to be a blank game week, but game week 30 is very much so up in the air because it depends on what teams go through in the FA Cup and what teams do not. So at the moment, there's I think a total of 6 teams that are confirmed to play in game week 30 that we know of for sure. Like they're definitely going to have a game that week. And I will pull that up if you give me 1 second. And those teams that are definitely going to have a team in game week 30 are Wolves, Leeds, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Leicester, and Brentford. So you're going to use your last free hit in game week 27. So that would mean you need to make sure that you're pretty covered for game week 30 because you don't want to go into game week 30 with like 5 players that are playing, right?
Yeah.
So you would stack up on, a good balance of those teams, which would be, like I said, Leeds, Wolves, Villa, Arsenal, Leicester, and Brentford. But you would also get enough doublers to make your bench boost worth it in game week 29. So that would cover you off for game week 27. You have a free hit. Game week 28, you have a wild card. You can make, basically plan out your next 3 weeks with all that in mind. Bench boost in 29, and then also have a good enough team to roll out into game week 30 without needing a free hit. Does that make sense? I know it's a lot. Like, it's a lot to process.
No, it does. My thought is if I save the free hit for game week 30.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 2 free transfers right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking.
How does your team line up right now for next game week? Like if you go to pick team, show me that.
Oh yeah. All right, I was doing this.
Because you
All right,
could
this
just
is what I
hold the
had set
free
up for
hit
right
and use
now.
it later on for a double game week
That's
later
what I
on
was
in the year if
thinking.
you really
And then
wanted to.
using my 2 transfers right now.
Okay.
And I was debating on like who to bring in.
So
yeah, I have no idea.
It looks like to me you could probably at max field. I mean, you could field 11 players this week if Pascal Gross actually plays against Aston Villa.
Yeah, the only thing is Ramsdale, but
yeah, but that like Ramsdale, you're gonna want long term, right?
yeah, I'm not gonna get rid of him. It would just be McCarthy, but at the
So
same time,
do
kind of
you
like I'll take the L there.
Well, what you could do is you're gonna want a second playing keeper.
I have an idea for him.
You go ahead then, Jake.
I think that you should trade McCarthy for Pope, the Burnley goalkeeper. He's a stud.
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever money you don't have to do that with, trade Jota for a good midfielder. Maybe like a James Ward-Prowse, who's going to be playing against Norwich, who you'll see on my lineup might be my captain this week. Who knows? We'll see.
Okay.
But I think Pope would be an awesome goalkeeper to have. Him and Ramsdale are the 2 best goalies, I think, in Fantasy Premier League. Because they get a lot of saves and get good clean sheets.
Yeah,
but I would save your free hit.
The only thing I would say to that, Jake, is that's a lot of money in keepers that you're gonna have for a long time. So that's like $10.5 million in keepers that you have spent, and that does make a dent in your overall budget, especially if your team value right now isn't super high.
Yeah.
My thought process. Go ahead.
What if he did it for this week and then still followed your logic for wild carding next week and then get rid of one of them?
But that's my point, Jake. If he's gonna wild card next week, why would you could at that point just, I don't know.
You could trade out Ramsdale, I guess.
I guess the question is, do you really need to save this free hit if you still have a wild card in hand, right? True. Because the free hit usually is used for blank game week scenarios, but in this specific one, there's only one blank game week left for the rest of the season after next week, and that's game week 30, which we just talked about, and we already know which teams are for sure going to play in that game week. So you could just cover it off. Like, you don't even have to worry about that because you'll already be able to field a good enough team if you build your team in 28 to have enough players to play in 30. That's where my mind is. And instead of kind of throwing out this rinky-dink team in 27, you're able to build the best possible team you can imagine for 27.
True.
So, I mean,
I get it.
Definitely do whatever you think is best at the end of the day. I don't, everybody's team is different, and everybody's plans is different because of everybody's team is different. But that was just kind of what I saw on your team that I think might be a good idea, because that way you get to hold on to your value that you have built up in your Liverpool players, and you don't have to throw them all away.
True.
And you don't have to get rid of Ramsdale.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I am curious on what you guys think for the striker situation I have with Dennis, Tony, Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts? What should I do with Antonio, honestly?
I think at least 2 of those need to go, and ideally probably all 3 of them. From a long-term point of view. Another person I want to bring into the mix is that we haven't talked about yet is Newcastle. Newcastle have a double coming up. They have a double game week in 28, and they also have a double game week in 29. So with that in mind, the first person that pops into my head that hasn't been talked about for a while is who?
St.
Max. And he's right around that price point of Tony, a downgrade from Antonio. I think he will be an absolute brilliant differential in the upcoming weeks that not a lot of people are looking at the moment. But even if you actually take a look at Newcastle's fixtures as well for the next for 28 and 29, they're pretty good. They have they're good double game weeks. It's not like they're playing like Chelsea and Liverpool. I'll actually pull it up while we keep talking what their double game weeks actually are on my phone real quick. But
Yeah.
I think St. Max is viable.
That is what I was thinking of, replacing Antonio St. Max and then bringing in Coutinho for Jota, and then starting him and then having that one sub just in case someone doesn't play, and then because another thing that's interesting is like Luis Diaz starting and he's starting super well. Is Jota going to be start on the bench now again?
Yeah, there's a lot to think
about.
So
Save for Champions League.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Klopp decides. And it kind of sucks because it's going to kind of be similar to what we see with Man City, of like you have that roulette on who's starting.
Yeah.
So is Jota a good one to keep? Is he going to – I'll be curious to see when he starts and how he starts coming back from the little knock that he had, or I guess ankle injury.
Yeah.
So that is something to be aware of. Is Jota maybe out of form for a couple weeks? But we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
I can share my team next.
Yeah, go ahead. Bring it on.
Willy, I can't share at the same time, I don't think.
Yeah. Jake just wants to show off, but it's fine.
All right, let me pull yours.
Just know he just did the opposite of everything I said. So whatever I say, do the opposite is the secret.
Can y'all see my team?
Classic. Yes, sir, we can. Show us total points. We're on 129 at the moment for the game week with a -4, so it's technically 125.
Yep. I have Tierney left to play, and I'm honestly hoping that he maybe gets 2 points, but that's just because you have Ramsdale and White.
Yeah, well, I mean, he could easily get an assist though, and like we not keep a clean sheet. That would probably be
best
awesome. Case scenario
I would love
for you, but
I would love like a 2-1 Arsenal win and him get 2 goals and none of your guys get any goals. I mean,
I think that's a stretch, but at
the
end of the day, if that happens and we beat Wolves tomorrow, I'm not gonna care because that's all I want to happen.
You want to win. That's true. So obviously, me and Toph both triple captain Salah, and I really don't have anyone else to brag about. I love Robertson. And I'm so happy I played Foster, even though he only got me 6 and 0 today. But I
always play the double game week keeper for sure.
Yeah, I almost played De Gea with 1 game over him because Watford's not good, but he really came through for me. And the rest of my team is honestly a lot to do. And then also when I just brag, look at this, top 500 in America. Let's go.
There we go. What's the overall rank at the moment, Jake?
12,384. We're down a little bit this week.
Super solid.
We're gonna come up when Tierney scores 2 goals tomorrow.
Hey, I'm all for it. To be honest, I would not care if that happened. I'd be happy. I'd be slightly irritated, but I'd still be happy if we won.
True. So this is what I'm looking at for this week right now. You can see I have 4 players that aren't going to play.
Okay.
And then potentially Webster won't play either. And so I haven't made any transfers yet. I only have 1 left. One
so what are your thoughts? You gonna field just 10 players next week and roll with it, or are you planning on transferring one of those players on your bench out in order to field 11?
So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is actually transfer out Tierney because I probably do want to bring him back in, but I think I'm going to wild card next week.
Okay.
And I don't want to use my free hit because I
definitely wouldn't free hit this team. Yeah. No, I don't think
I really want to win our mini league too, and so I want to hold on to my free hit and like either use it the last week of the season or week 30, like you were saying. And I still have wild card, so wild card next week, bench boost 29. I think that's a great idea, and then free hit either week 30 or 36. And the transfers, I'm so mad, dude. I traded in Tierney with a -4 for Livermento. Like I brought him in instead of Livermento. And
would you have played Livermento this week? You probably wouldn't have, right?
Yeah, let's look. I would have played Foden. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you definitely would have. So I mean, you got to take it in stride.
I don't know. I could have gotten some value from him though. I bet his.
Yeah, I think he's a great. The only worry there is Perau, their other left back, who was actually playing really well while he was out. So I think there'll be a little bit of rotation between those two, Livermento and Perau. So I think he's still a great value pick, but he's definitely not a nailed starter in my eyes anymore.
Yeah, definitely. And then when I'm thinking about what I'm going to do the rest of the season when I wildcard is we're going to get rid of De Gea. I'm going to get rid of Antonio and King and Watkins. They're probably my 3 worst players, and I've played them so much, and they give me nothing. I would love to keep, obviously, Salah and Robertson. I don't know if I want Robertson or a Liverpool offensive player, but I'd probably keep Robertson because he's basically a Liverpool offensive player that gets 6 points. And then I'm gonna try to bring Ramsdale back in. I had him for so long. I think I've only had 2 goalkeepers this whole season. I think I started, or maybe 3, but I either started with Ramsdale or brought him in right after the season started, and then I brought in De Gea like 6 weeks ago.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go back to Ramsdale. And then honestly, I would love to bring Son in. I don't know how I'm gonna make it work, but once I wildcard, I guess I can play around. But I would love to end the season with maybe 1 or 2 Chelsea defenders, Salah, TAA. He's been on my team the whole year. He's the best.
Yep.
And then maybe 2 Chelsea defenders, and then a couple Arsenal players. But I don't know. It's been a lot of fun. I've been so lucky with my transfers. They've really hit, and every time I want to get rid of Rafinha, he scores a goal. So, so I end up just keeping him, and so I'm probably going to keep him too.
That's fair.
We'll see. Looks like he has enough good matchups for me.
Yeah. So for those watching, Jake has been an absolute FPL savant so far this year, and super happy for him. It's frustrating for me, right? Because I'm super competitive, but to see the transfers he's been making, to put it in context, was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
Last week.
Webster. Yeah. So last week he transferred in Webster. That was his one transfer in for Webster's goal, and like wasn't he like the top scorer of the game week? He was close to, if not the top.
He had goals scored, clean sheet, and bonus. Oh, like top scoring defender. I think he might have been the top.
He was definitely a top scoring defender. I'm thinking he might have even been close for the top scoring player in the game week.
I bet Bruno was because he went off, but
yeah,
I'd be happy for him to be
probably. But yeah, he transferred in Webster last week. He transferred in Robbo and De Bruyne like 4 or 5 weeks ago. When they both went on a tear, and he's just on top of it. He's been on his game. I love the competition at the end of the day. I really do.
Same.
Because it would be so boring for me if I was just like smashing everyone. I actually almost like being in second more. Like I'm more into it in second than I am in first because of, how it's going. But
yeah, you have to pay attention more. And I would say for all that are listening and for what I'm doing different this year than every other year is I never took the captaincy as seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Not meaning I didn't like care, but like for me, if I get the captain right, then I'll move up a green arrow every single week.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or if I'm like Willy and I captain Trent Alexander-Arnold on a Friday night, then I know I'm going to be moving down. But I captained Salah the whole season, which that's not hard to do. But once Salah went to AFCON, I think the reason that I was able to like get some separation from people is it was like TAA, De Bruyne, TAA, De Bruyne, and then like there's some other player I picked that was random that just went off, and I'm like, that is so lucky. Like if you can hit the captain, then
captaincy is huge in this game. It can just absolutely destroy your rank or really help your rank, and
totally
it's brutal at the end of the day because I would love just for one season to not have Salah in FPL because I think the variance in that season would just be insane. Because
or if he just is listed as a striker, then people would probably not captain him as much.
People would still captain him constantly. I think.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Because if you look back on the seasons where like Kane was bossing it, people were captaining Kane like very consistently. So, true. But yeah, it's been a fun one. All right, I'll bring up my team real quick. I don't know. I just turned off my camera. That's the wrong button. Don't mind me. Okay.
I also want to say the one other player that I was looking at bringing in, but I don't think I will, is Vardy. Just if Leicester wants to get hot at the end of the season, then why wouldn't he be the one scoring goals? But I feel like it's like a risky move, but you never know. I like to pick people that are going to play and going to score. I feel like he scores a lot. Or Danny Ings as a cheap striker. He's healthy again. Mm-hmm. Who knows?
Yeah, I would be concerned with
Albert Lewin healthy.
Yeah, but do we care?
No, I'm
just because of how poor Everton's been.
I'm really hoping they get relegated, honestly.
No, yeah, that would be a Liverpool fan's dream.
Oh, I'd be so happy. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see if Frank can turn something around. I hope not, but Oh man, if they get relegated. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine.
151. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, so we're having a stormer of a game week.
That's crazy.
And I'll be honest. I feel like I slightly deserve this just because of how much I planned for this specific week. So everything was very much so thought out. And not everything came into fruition. What I keep thinking about is how many points I would have if Arsenal didn't concede in the 93rd minute against Brentford on Sunday.
I was so happy.
Or Saturday. Dude. Oh my God, yes. Man. That Jake and I were literally having a text conversation of I was like already banking the Arsenal clean sheet. I was like, yeah, see, this is why I transferred in Ramsdale. And then boom, we concede in the 93rd to a garbage time goal that doesn't matter at all for the actual game. Oh, so frustrating. But we'll talk about the positives. So let me actually bring the whole team into the mix here. Yeah, so we're on 151. I still got Ramsdale, White, Saka, and Kilman to play tomorrow. I'm hoping for an Arsenal clean sheet and a Saka goal contribution. That would be dreamland for sure. I'll take one or the other, even just a Saka assist, and if we concede, whatever. I would ideally like to keep a clean sheet, but at the end of the day, I want the dub mostly as an Arsenal fan. It would actually probably help me the most in fantasy if it was just a 0-0 game. If I think about it.
No, or if it's a 1-0 Saka goal.
Yeah.
Then
or if Saka just went off and we kept a clean sheet. Yeah, if Saka scored like a brace or something, that would probably be the best scenario. But I'll take it no matter what. The Kane and Son picks, I think, are really what's elevated me this game week, and pretty much very few people have both of them. Some people have Son or Kane, but I've seen pretty much no teams that have both. And they'll probably be my, hill that I die on for the rest of the season, which sucks as an Arsenal fan because I want them to do bad. But like if they do good, then my FPL season will be severely elevated. And the thing that I like about my team right now is the team value that I have right now and so much flexibility. If you look at my bench, I have Cancelo, Ramsey, and Maupay on my bench. And in any given game week, I could bench boost. At any game week, I could bench boost. And I haven't specifically planned out which one that's going to be, whether it's 28 or 29. I think 29 would probably be better for me because Arsenal and Liverpool both double in that game week, and I have 6 of those players in total right now, and I don't plan on selling. Like I said, I'm probably going to free hit this week. But I really like the team overall. I think there's literally 2 players that I would change in this team right now, and it would be Elise and Maupay. I would probably take Maupay to Wout Weghorst, or maybe I don't even know. I could double up on Saints attack with Shea Adams if I really wanted to, or we were talking about Saint
Max.
I could do Saint Max. I would have to downgrade Elise, but I could afford Saint Max. One thing I was looking at and thinking about is downgrading Elise to Anthony Elanga for Man United, and then I could upgrade Maupay to Saint Maximin if I wanted to.
You're just getting greedy at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a good spot to be in right now. But the flip side of that is I've already played my second wild card, so you guys both still have that. And after this next week, I will have only one chip left, and that'll be bench boost, because I will have used my triple captain, both free hits and wild card. So I'm trying to gain that ground on Jake. I think I'm like 38 points behind him at the moment. I've still got 4 players to play tomorrow. And then if I free hit and he doesn't free hit next week, hopefully I can get some ground on that as well. But then he'll have a bunch of chips and still be probably ahead of me at the end of the day. So, it's all or nothing. We got to full send it. I got to try some things. But yeah, really happy with the team so far. Saka probably my happiest, just because I just love him and he just makes me happy.
Saka too. It's a good one.
Kane and Son is funny because I thought like, okay, maybe Son will score against City on a counter, but I certainly didn't expect Kane to brace and Son to get a goal against City and then them both blank against Burnley. I thought they would probably return against Burnley and not do anything against City.
Yep.
But happy with that regardless. Robertson with the 2 assists. What a legend. Just corner kick legend.
He is.
It must be nice just aiming for Matip and Van Dijk in the box all the time, you know?
Dude, what's so frustrating is, because I know you said you want to talk a little bit about the game today too, is that as a Liverpool fan, I was really happy that we won both games. But as a fantasy Premier League player, and I have the same 3 Liverpool players you have, knowing that they easily could have had so many points. And I know Norwich scored against Liverpool, but if you saw the replay of that goal, I mean, that's a freak goal. If you think about it, like it bounced off one of our, I don't remember which player it was, but one of their.
It was off Matip's foot.
Yeah,
and
opposite
Alisson
direction.
was going the right way, and then.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
That's
I think honestly those are the
sheets.
3. Yeah. Also, with the whole Klopp roulette that might be coming, Robertson, Trent, and Salah as your 3 Liverpool. All you have to worry about really is like maybe after a Champions League game, if we're playing someone little, he may start Joe, Gomez, and Miscus, but overall, like for the rest of the season, you can expect those 3 to be playing in and out every game. So
for sure. I mean, I don't think they'll move. I don't think they'll move from my team, bar an injury. I don't think those 3 will move out of my team for the rest of the season. The only thing that I can see going forward is I have no City attackers, and I only have Cancelo, who's practically might as well be 100% owned in the game at this point. I'm also kind of in the point in this season where I don't want to test the pep roulette. I'm just over it. Like I don't want to buy Foden and then him get benched every 3rd game week and just have to deal with that. I don't, Sterling's way too much money to have on a consistent basis. KDB is probably the only one that you would consider having consistently, but even with him, nobody's got the budget to have both Salah and KDB really if you want to have like a good rest of your team. Even I'm stretching it with like Salah, Kane, and Son. I don't think you would see pretty much any teams out there that can afford to have Salah, Kane, and Son and still have a good overall team. And that's where I think hopping on them early and watching their value rise has really helped me early on, playing that early wild card. I think that's pretty much the only advantage I've gained from that early wild card is this week specifically my score because I planned it out for this, and then also the team value that I've gotten out of it. But yeah, I'll be, I'm 90% sure I'm free hitting in 27. I will probably bench boost in either 28 or 29. If I don't like either of those options, I could always hold my bench boost to game week 33. Game week 33 will probably be the game week with the most double game weeks throughout the entire season because almost every team will need to have a game rescheduled on that game week. So keep that in mind with planning. And yeah, looking pretty good. I'm happy with the rank boost. I was telling Jake today I was 75K overall 2 weeks ago, and at the moment I'm 40K with 4 more players to play tomorrow. So, maybe I'll even finish top 30 in the end of the game week if everything goes well. That'd be sweet. But guys, let's talk about the Liverpool game today. 6-0. I want to hear your thoughts as Liverpool fans. How do you like your odds to win the league? How focused you guys think you are? Because you're still in a bunch of competitions right now. You've got the League Cup final coming up?
The Carabao Cup final.
Yeah, so the League Cup final this Sunday. You guys are still in the Champions League, and you guys got this Premier League title race going on. Is Klopp going to be able to juggle it all? Where do you think your focus is going to be?
Man, and the FA Cup too. We're still in that. We got those 4 competitions. I don't know. Right now, I think the focus. I mean, Klopp. He'll always say it. Focus is the next game. Don't look ahead. It's the next one. And Klopp, we trust. I'm really hoping we can beat Chelsea. I know they've been a pain. this whole season. We just keep tying them. But I think it'll be really interesting to see who starts that game. I was kind of surprised watching today's game, even though we were like 3-0 up. We then sub on Henderson. We sub on Origi. And did we sub on someone else? But it was just players I was like, I expect
Milner.
them to rest. Milner, right? It was just players I expected he would rest.
Right.
But he just kept playing him.
Yeah.
So it was interesting in that aspect.
Right.
But, and I mean, it's Leeds, so like, they're going to be running a bunch versus how much Chelsea ran yesterday in the Champions League game. So makes me nervous for Sunday. And then immediately after that, it's like, it's just back-to-back games. So
yeah.
I'm happy. I feel like we have the depth now. We have the attack for it. I know Trent, he said somewhere that he thinks we could treble this season. So if we get FA Cup, Premier League, and Champions League, I'd be a very happy person. But
well, League Cup's obviously there, right? Because you guys are in the final for that. So
yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Go ahead, Jake.
My outlook is high for it being to the wire. So I honestly have no idea. I think Willie said earlier that every time Man City loses a game, they win like their next 15 games.
Yeah.
And so it really just comes down to me, it's obviously the Man City Liverpool game matters, but this is you can't make mistakes against teams that you shouldn't make mistakes against. Like if Liverpool goes out and draws against Arsenal, we play all in 2 weeks, right? If that's a draw, that could be detrimental to where you lose the Premier League. And so they have to try to win every single game. If they I don't think it can be one of those we maybe can tie and win. It needs to be you need to win every single game and just expect Man City to make 0 mistakes and them also to win every game. And so I think that they're going to be trying really hard for the Premier League because I feel like it is.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you want to win everything, but it does seem like that's the higher value for Liverpool.
Yeah.
And then as far as the way our team's playing, I really I love the youngsters that come in, like Curtis Jones is so awesome, and Samikas, he plays fiery when he's in. So I feel like they could do a lot of good things with these other little games. But as long as you have Robertson and TAA kicking high balls into the defenders and corners or shooting it so far upfield through balls to Salah, then we should score at least 2 goals in every game for the rest of the season. That's kind of how I feel. And so I just hope that you win those games.
Yeah.
I thought you were about to say you just want them in because of your fantasy Premier League. Pretty much to all the listeners, I have fallen from top 4 to now 10th in our bottom 4 in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's been sad.
It's not good, Willie.
But I tell Jake every week, I'm like, look, if I do horribly, as long as Liverpool win, that's what matters. So hopefully it stays in good form.
Sure. Willie, I can't remember. Did you play in our league last year or not? Is this your first?
I did.
You did. Okay.
No,
yeah,
I played last year. I mean, I think I was at second to the bottom, so it's probably why I didn't remember me. But I was learning it.
It's all right. I lost to
same, bro. Same.
Who did I lose to last year? I can't remember.
Wasn't it Armand?
Yeah, it was Armand. And he had a killer season last season. I could not keep up with it last season with all the cancellations of COVID, just literally 24/7.
Oh, yeah.
That one, part of the season earlier on this year where it was COVID cancellations every every week for maybe a span of 5 weeks. I was like, oh, here we go again. I don't want to deal with this. But luckily it seems to be kind of, done and dusted at this point. I wanted to ask you guys about Luis Diaz. What do you think about the new signing? How has he impressed you as he's come in for the injured Jota and then Firmino with I think he kind of had a thigh injury or something of the sort. Maybe it was ankle. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But how has he impressed you guys? Do you think he's going to start to solidify himself as a starter? Are we looking at a Luis Diaz, Mane, and Salah front 3 from here on out, or do you think it's just going to be kind of interchangeable?
I think he was brought in He's awesome. First of all, I love how fiery he is. Like he is like trying to get in fights with people, and like he is like definitely has that spirit of like he
Mm-hmm.
wants to get after it,
Yeah,
which is what you want in a midseason transfer for sure.
for sure.
But I would say that I think he's brought in mainly as a replacement for either Mane or Salah. Salah can't leave, don't leave. But I feel like he's gonna eventually take over maybe next year if Mane doesn't come back, or if he just isn't as good. I think he's good, but I honestly see him more as like a what he's so good at is his pace. Like he
You cut out
and
for a
he
bit,
went
Jake. Are
for
you
the
there?
shot. Oh yeah, can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Sorry.
we can now. Sorry,
Yeah,
we
you're good
missed the
now.
last couple seconds. If you want to reiterate.
Dang. He was they passed him a ball today and he was running so hard and had honestly a great opportunity to pass it off for a much easier goal, I think, for Salah. And he went
He
for a
took for the
goal. And
shot.
so
Yeah, I
to
saw that.
me, I mean, I heard the announcer say like they love that he went for goal because he's like he wants to score goals.
For sure.
And so just him keeping that mentality, but then also like putting that they said honestly like Jordan Henderson is the best. They think maybe the announcer like one of the best players in the league of like selflessness. Of like he's had so many chances to shoot on goal and he always is like perfect pass to someone else to score. And so him learning like the Liverpool way because Klopp is about that too. And so I feel like he will find that form. I just don't know if it's gonna be the season.
That's fair. I mean, hey,
Yeah,
you'll take what 2 goals in 3 games from him, so it's not bad.
Yeah, that's good
easily.
enough, I guess.
He's still got to learn English, so I don't know if how him and Klopp are communicating.
Yeah,
Honestly.
'Cause I know he doesn't speak Spanish, but
yeah. Well, he's
no,
Colombian and
I'm
he came from Porto,
yeah,
so
It's
knowing
all
yeah.
over the place.
I mean, I don't blame him for not knowing English, but no, I'm honestly so happy. With the rumors of I know Mane apparently told his agent if like Real Madrid come that he'd go, and then Salah and his whole contract mess that's there. Um, it's obviously scary, but no, I mean when you think of like when Minamino came up to the team,
mm-hmm.
um, it took forever for him to hit in form and get the system right, which was really frustrating to see. So having Luis Diaz already, like he's built, and like he already has the mindset of how this heavy metal soccer is played. So I'm extremely happy about it, and to have the rotation, to have the option when Jota's hurt, that you can have someone on that level and
Yeah,
have that kind of drive is so it's so good to see. So
absolutely.
Liverpool have the depth now. I mean, we got the midfielders of Harvey back. I've loved seeing him play
Mm-hmm.
at like what 19 years old.
Yeah,
Crazy. Um, and then the defense now that Trent and Robbo have backups. Um, and Joe Gomez is a great change for Van Dyke and Matip, and same with Konate.
yep.
It's just it all looks so good. I don't want to jinx anything. I knock on wood every day thinking
Yeah.
about it.
No, I mean it's
It's
good. It's good
tough.
to see. It's good to see that you guys are getting that depth. I mean, I think that's the one thing that has differentiated City from every other team in the Premier League for the past like 5 seasons. Is just that, like you said, if City literally took their B team, if they made a whole new Premier League team with that B team, they would finish top 4, if not second
Yeah.
place, which is ridiculous to think about. Like if you actually think about it, it's so insane. And Liverpool are not quite on that level, but they're at least they're building towards something that if, in prior seasons you would have said if Mane gets hurt or if Salah gets hurt, it's done, right? Now if
Yeah.
it's, if Mane gets hurt, that's absolutely not ideal, but the front three of, Jota, Salah, and Diaz, or Jota, Firmino, Diaz, whatever it looks like, that can still get the job done for sure. There's still goals there. So I think that's definitely the overall goal for Klopp. That's what he's trying to build towards. I don't know, how much longer Mane or Salah's got at Liverpool over time, but you guys are strengthening in areas that you need to with younger players on the come up, and that's that's very similar to what I mean. Not that similar because you guys are already like top tier, but Arsenal has really, basically built towards that, and we're building up our youth system. So,
Totally.
Yeah.
but yeah,
I think getting rid of Aubameyang was a great I'll say I think it was the right decision to make.
Yeah.
As tough as it may
agree.
be,
For sure. No, I
I
agree
think it
with
was
you.
a good one.
He just wasn't working, and I like that Arteta is cutthroat enough to say, I don't care that you're a superstar. You were supposed to be the captain of this team, and you're showing up late consistently, and you're not captaining this team the way it needs to be. And he literally took the captaincy armband from him and pretty much said, "Voila, like peace. We'll see you later," and let him go to Barca.
I love that move.
Isn't great business for us, but I think it's good for the morale of the team and is what needed to be done. But guys, that pretty much wraps it up. I really appreciate both of you coming on, filling in for Ben this week as he continues his long nights schedule at the Olympics. He's working the Olympics for NBC, and he's basically got the night shift, so he's working like 10 p.m. to like 8 a.m., which is craziness. And then he sleeps through today.
So NBC.
Yeah, that
Watch
wraps it up.
Everything NBC.
For sure. Oh yeah, I forgot.
I'm gonna make a player pick for Ben.
Okay.
Josh Sargent is gonna score 3 goals against Brentford this
Poor
weekend.
Ben. I'm not even gonna count this week because James picked Firmino for him before anybody knew that Firmino was hurt. So
yeah, I know.
That's just we're just gonna wipe that game week. But that wraps it up, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week. Hope you guys enjoyed kind of like our in-depth review on the league and just kind of going through our thoughts on our team. Hopefully our plans and transfer plans have kind of just jogged some ideas in your heads about what you want to do for your team. Make sure you guys are following us on Twitter at BorderlineFPL. We also have an Instagram, which is BorderlineFPL. If you want to follow either of these guys on Twitter, Jake, you want to plug your Twitter? Go ahead.
Jake Hagan 0, and all I do is just reply to Borderline FPL tweets.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. We will see you guys next week. Up the Gunners, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Never walk alone. We'll take our week off and win the league this weekend.
Hey. All right. Bye, guys.